Introducing the Paddy Power World Darts Championships.
Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. We are here in Leeds for the Dazzler. And we've got the African warrior, Devon Petersen. Devon, this is like fairly close to you, fairly local, isn't it?
100%. I was literally stone throw away. I live about 20 minutes away. So it's a tournament I've won before. I've played here 3 times now, so I think that this is probably my farewell. But yeah, it's great. I mean, everywhere you go with exhibitions, you get to meet people and you get the same faces. Obviously, they come to see different players, but you kind of build that rapport where they see you and it now becomes family, and that's what darts really is. It's the separation of a sport, and you kind of become a family, and yeah, it's fantastic. It's one sport that I'm glad that I chose to play, because you get to engage with the fans on a different level.
We spoke back in September and Dartboard Mass was just about to be launched, and now it is out, it is in the public domain. The smile on your face says it all. How excited are you for this chapter of your career, not on the board but just in darts?
I think so generally, I mean, you always kind of try and measure success based on your own kind of achievements and all of those things. And in my latter years, I've focused not on success but on value and what you're actually contributing to the sport, what you're actually contributing to the darting community. And it's been a challenge on the hockey, but off the hockey, it's been phenomenal. Like just coming up with a brand, pushing out, creating a product that has never been seen before globally. And I feel as though it's got so much opportunity for success simply because of the popularity of the sport, how you guys carry the sport over and bring it to the people. Now I'm looking to change the way in which it's perceived, though, because, I mean, when you think about the sport, there's obviously stigmas attached to it. And what we're looking to do now is bring darts into the classroom without having the arrows thrown at it, but use it for an educational resource tool. And with that, it would then get the interest and the understanding of the sport at an earlier age.
Time-wise, how long before you can get this into mainstream curriculum?
I think that I'd love it to be there tomorrow, because I can surely show and prove benefits of it and just the ease and simple of use. But I think that the number one thing for me is now that it's launched, everybody can actually experience it. Having the backing of the PDPA is phenomenal, it's fantastic. Having the PDC inquire about it, that's great. The World Dart Federation looking at it from a youth commissioner perspective, that's phenomenal. I mean, there's other plans that link onto it, which will push into the future as well. So my goal is to get it by mid-2025 into schools and seen potentially as an extracurricular, or kids that either have special needs or need special aids to actually kind of bridge that gap. And I think that our sport is one of the sports that bridges that gap, and it's a fantastic opportunity for not only our sport but also just one of those potentially, like, I know I've been called a trailblazer being the only one from Africa, but I think that now with adding this, the Dartboard Mats is now trailblazing the sport itself. So it's not just Africa, Cape Town, or South Africa's Cape Town. It's now the sport itself and taking it to the world, and I'm glad that I'm the ambassador for that and pushing it hard.
Look, World Championships is on the horizon as we do this. Look, obviously I'm guessing disappointed that you're not there, but you still get the same butterflies that it is World Championship season.
100%. I mean, seeing Cameron Carolison win the qualifier in Kenya was phenomenal against a Peter Washuri, and showcasing that in Kenya. And I think that for every country now that has the qualifier, that player that comes over, if it's his debut, he doesn't know what he's going to get into. If it's your second bite of the cherry like Cameron Carolison, it's going to be so exciting, because the World Championships, you come in there, everybody comes in there as a human being. Somebody's going to leave there as a world champion, and I think that the World Championships will always have that spot in my heart, and literally because I really want to be a world champion at some point in my career. Whether it is this year, next year, or when I get back, yeah, who knows, but I think that the World Championships will always have a special place in my heart.
After that qualifier, Peter became somewhat of a cult hero after, obviously he got more focus than Cameron did because of all that. He's become a cult hero in the darting world.
I think when you understand Peter Washuri's journey, for example, coming from the Kenyan mountains, villages, now we're able to unearth through the African Darts Group and hosting these events in different areas. You're now able to unearth talent that we've never seen before, number one, and we're broadcasting it from an unknown place like Kenya, for example. You don't expect players like Previously, it was only South Africa because obviously of what we've done and the PDC's investment in South Africa. And then you look at now us looking to branch out and expand that. Peter Washuri is one of the players. There's Ugandan, Ethiopian, Namibian players, Botswana players, Lesotho, Mozambique. We even got Egyptian players coming on board, Nigerian. So you look at all of those realms and what Africa has to offer. I still feel like it's an untapped resource. So yeah, I think with the African Darts Group, me leading the way and just knowing what good looks like, basing it on emulating what the PDC's created already. I mean, it's going to be fantastic and it's going to be successful just based on that.
Just touching on, like you say, your passion there for African darts. We've seen in other areas, and I'm going to use Australia here as the focal point, that we know darts back there is very split and they're not all on the same page. You've got different organisations trying to go one way, different trying to go, and players are split as well. And I use Raymond Smith as the example, that he won't play in one organisation because people that are running it and so on. What is on the ground darts in Africa like? Is it unified, or does it still need work to grow and be unified? There's
a lot of work. I think and this is a great point that you bring up, and this is what you do as a journalist as well, and I love that you brought that up. The crazy part is what people don't understand is, from a federation perspective, there's a governmental rule and policy that they have to follow. And that following isn't that it's based like a company. So the difference is one is administrative, one is visionary. So business always looks to tread forward and change the way in which the sport is played and amplify the platform. On the other side, the administrator just has the administrative duties. So I think that's where the clash is, and that's where the vision versus the administrator doesn't meet. It also comes down with egos. In South Africa, it's not that great. In Africa, it's phenomenal because we get in the respect and the wanting to collab from the likes of KDA, which is the Kenyan Darts Association. You got the Namibian Darts Association, Botswana we're speaking with now. All of these other areas, Uganda, Tanzania also endorsing us. These are all small steps, and I know that, I mean, the darts is not in its infancy in the country, but at the highest level it definitely is, and I think that it's an important factor to at least start the steps or start the process and start the conversation to actually uplift Africa into the professional scene.
If I said to you in 10 years' time, we've got a European tour, we've got a CDC tour, we've got one in the Caribbean, Darts Players Australia, could we have an African tour, like not just Canada, and a full-blown African tour? Is that possible?
Yes, so exactly what you're saying. So we have the African Continental Tour currently happening this next year. It will be split north and south. It's the first time they will ever have 8 events on the African continent. And that will all lead into an international cup, which will then change, obviously, as we move forward. And the big part of everything is that the World Series is the key. And I think that once we host the first World Series, it's going to be the change of everything on the continent. Because the last time the PDC was there was many moons ago. Bring them now with the likes of Luke Humphreys, all these young guns. You got Rob Cross, I'm calling him young, but he's not. But you look at all of these young players coming through and just who's dominating in the sport. That will change and just inspire so many, not only young, but older players as well. So yeah, I think where we are at now, and my visit to South Africa, which was probably 3 weeks ago, was really fantastic. We had a conversation with the sports minister, doing a fantastic job, looking at the sport with a mic under the microscope and looking at what the World Series has to offer. So I'm really ecstatic about what 2025 is going to bring, and I think that before our conversation was, I'm hoping to bring it. Now I know it's just, I will bring it, but when? That's the only difference.
Well, you kind of beat me to it there. How close are we to that World Series in South Africa?
I think we're extremely close now. I mean, just sitting in his office, and this is Gaten McKenzie. He's a fantastic ambassador for sport and just kind of bringing it to the people. Our conversation was amazing, clear. I needed to give him clear indication as in what our plans was. And with his response, I think that I'm gonna almost not go out on a limb right now, but I think that it's within 5 years, and I'd go at a push within 3.
Interesting. The smile on your face says it all. Look, before we let you go, World Championships, like you say, everyone's talking about Luke and Luke. do you see it as clear cut as that, or do you think we could have a surprise?
I think that there's a surprise. I think that Gerwin Price, for me, always at the Worlds, strong candidate. Just the way in which he's played. MVG, you can never write off. His performance hasn't been as standard as it has been, and consistent. When I talk about consistent, his level. The crazy part is everybody speaking it because you can literally see it. I mean, it's going to be potentially, it won't be a Luke and Luke final, it'll be semi-finals, yeah. So, yeah, I think that, I mean, the other side of the draw, it's weighing in and they're looking at their opportunities and licking their lips. It's like when it was back in the day. If you were on the other side of the full Taylor draw, you just want to get to the final, basically. I think that it comes down to which Luke comes through, and then on the other side, yeah, I think that there's a strong possibility that MVG and Luke get to the final. Which Luke, I can't say.
Dev, absolute pleasure catching up with you as always, my friend.
Cheers, man. Thank you very much. Cheers.